Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Talk back in the video day, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets potentially trading for James Harden. This is a discussion I really wanted to have when I saw this report that NBA executives believe that everybody on the Los Angeles Clippers are available. It's been reported that the Los Angeles Clippers, that executives believe that the Clippers are about to start a fire sale and that every player on their roster is available, and that includes James Harden. And we know James Harden does not want to be on a 5-16 team. So where would James Harden want to be? You know, like before James Harden went to the Clippers, before James Harden requested a trade out of Philadelphia, there was all these reports about James Harden going back to Houston. I remember 2 Christmas ago, it being Christmas and seeing Woj on TV and Woj talking about the possibility of a James Harden re-signing with Houston. This wasn't 2 years ago. This was 3 years ago, not 2 years ago. And when this happened 3 years ago, I was shocked. It felt like an extra. I'd already opened up my gifts on Christmas. I think I was 15 or 16, whatever it was, and it felt like an additional gift. Because keep in mind, this was when the Rockets were playing like crap. Steven Silas was still the coach. And Ime Udoka was not the coach yet. This felt like an extra Christmas gift. And I remember being so excited, the possibility of James Harden coming back to Houston. And I did a video on it right away, even on Christmas. And so, I think that it'd be great to see James come back to Houston. There is a possible way to get this deal done. It is a long shot, but there is a possibility of it. And I think James definitely could want to come back to Houston. Everybody needs to remember, James Harden didn't choose not to come to Houston. Ime Udoka told him not to. Ime Udoka didn't. It's not that Ime didn't want James Harden. I don't think Ime had a problem with James Harden being on this team. Ime Udoka, it was reported that Ime Udoka told James Harden that this team was not ready for winning yet. Ime knew that James Harden wanted to win a ring, and Ime knew that it was going to take a minute, because this was a team that was coming off of under 25 wins. They were going to need a season or two to build something, and that's what happened. We saw this team first year go 41-41, and they took a huge improvement. They went a 19-win improvement. Then the next year, they get even higher. They get to the second in the Western Conference and get to play their first playoff series. And then you see a Kevin Durant trade, and now it feels like this team is at the point where, like Ime Udoka, I think he knew when he came in, this was not a team that was ready for a championship yet. It was going to take a minute. And I think they're at that point now where they're ready for a championship. And that being said, it could be the time to bring back James Harden. And I think it'd be like another LeBron James scenario. Like LeBron James going back to Cleveland and winning a championship where he wasn't able to do that in Cleveland. It'd be so good to watch James Harden return to Houston and, see that happen. I think James Harden and Kevin Durant, things didn't end badly in Brooklyn between those two guys. Those two guys still have a lot of respect for each other. And you saw last year, Kevin Durant made a video for James Harden when, they had a big accomplishment with 3-pointers made. And Kevin Durant had all these nice words to say about James Harden in a video. And James Harden looked like it meant so much to him when these reporters told him that. I saw that clip earlier today. And so I think these two guys have a lot of respect for each other still, and I think, that's the case with James Harden and Ime Udoka as well. Keep in mind, if I'm correctly, I think I'm correct. If I'm wrong, James Harden and Ime Udoka were together in Brooklyn, because Ime Udoka was in Brooklyn before he got hired by Boston. And James Harden was in Brooklyn that 2021 season. So Harden's been coached by Udoka, so everybody remember that. And so I think he'd fit well with this team. I think Harden is a different player now than he was when he left Houston, because I think Harden has learned how to play around other stars. Harden goes from Houston to Brooklyn. He's got to play next to other two stars who need the ball more and shoot the ball more, and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. He goes to Philadelphia. He's playing next to an MVP Joel Embiid. That guy is supposed to have the ball more than James Harden. Then he goes to LA. When he originally joined LA, you've got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. The ball is going to be in those guys' hand more. I think Harden has learned more Like Harden's always been a good passer, but I think Harden has become more of a selfless player in the last 4 or 5 years being away from Houston, and I think that would the good the better. I think he was always a good facilitator. I think he's improved as a facilitator, and I think that would help with this Rockets team. You've got a guy like Amen Thompson who has thrived at the dunker spot this year. I think one of the best players in this league at the dunker spot. You've got a guy like Alperen Sengun who's such a good player and he's great on the pick and roll. You've got a former teammate of James Harden and Steven Adams who they've got some chemistry. And so that's another guy that you got in a pick and roll. You've got Durant, who he's played with, and he's an excellent scorer. There's so many options around for Harden, and you could, if you trade for him, you can, kind of like get Amen Thompson away from playing point guard. I'd rather see him at the forward position. I'd still love to see Reed Shepherd get a lot of minutes because I think he's a great player. But I want to see Amen Thompson play less at the point guard, and Harden does that. Now, what this trade would be, it'd be pretty hard because you need Fred VanVleet to lift his no-trade clause. I think if you can convince him to do it, you do this trade. You trade Fred VanVleet and like 2 first-round picks with one of Dorian Finney-Smith or Clint Capella for Harden, and it's a done deal. And I'd love to see it happen for the Rockets. You guys give me your thoughts on the potential trade in the comment section, and peace out. Go Rockets.